Hello, my friends. Jerry Rosa here in the Rosa Stringworks Man Cave. And I don't have a whole lot to cover today, but I got something that I thought I'd show you that I've been working on this morning. Kind of a head scratcher type deal, trying to figure out how much timber I'm going to need to do the roof if I timber frame it. And it even surprised me when I started figuring it all up. I thought, golly, there's a lot that's going to be needed. Well, let's just go to that. I've got the plans. Well, these are real, what you'd call lightweight plans, but they're drawn up here, and I'll try to explain it to you. If you, maybe I can, I had a, it's so dumb. I had a toothpick laying right here that I could use as a pointer, and it's not there now. I don't know where it went. Anyway, yeah, it's hard to get it in the right camera. This bottom line here represents the top of the building presently. So that's the top of the building presently. This double line right here is the cross tie going across, and this is a measurement down here. So the blue things are measurements or angles or something like that. The black is lines that will be in the timber frame. And if you look on the left, there's a 94.75 inch there, and 96 inches is 8 feet. But, if you look at the angle there, then if you look down at the bottom left, it says there's 3.72 inches past that. So if you add that up to the 94.75, that means that it's actually over an 8-foot 8-foot board. So I've got to cut logs that are longer than 8 foot long. So I got to cut them at about 9 foot long to get each rafter out of there. I figure I'm going to need 7 per side. And that's putting them at roughly, I don't know, 20-inch centers, something like that. So I'll need 7 on each side. So that's 14. I'm going to make them 5x5s, I think. 5x5 it looks beefy, but it's not huge. It's a pretty hefty beam though, a 5x5, and it's better than like your typical 4x4 that you get at the box store, because they're actually only 3.5 by 3.5, and this 5x5 will be a full 5x5, so it's quite a bit bigger. And the other reason I want to stick with 5x5 is because I can get that out of approximately an 8-inch tree. And we do have a lot of 8-inch cedar on the farm, or, cedar that's 8-inch and slightly above. So I think I can get 5x5s out of it without too much trouble. If you try to get 6x6, well, then you probably have to go up to almost a 10-inch tree, to get it out of there. So anyway, that's kind of how it would work. So, and then, so I'd need 7 on each side. So that's 14. And then I'd need 7 collar ties. And the collar ties you can see are 80 inches long. So they're basically another, full length tie there also. So there's 7 more. So that's 21 now. And that doesn't count any additional posts or anything I might want to put in the ground if I extend the overhang out over the front, or plus whatever extra overhang I might need too. So it's just, there's a lot to it. 21 is probably the minimum number that I need to at least get it under roof. Yeah, it's a lot more than I expected. So I don't know if that makes sense to you or not, but and then, first of all, you got to go find, if the tree's big enough, I can get 2 out of each tree. So that would take probably at least a 10-inch tree at the base to be 8 inches up on the upper part, at least, So I got to find some fairly good sized trees to get 2 logs out of each tree, because it's better to get 2 if you can, rather than, waste the top of the tree. I don't know. It's just not easy being me. That's all I can tell you. But let's go to the comments and see what we got. That's kind of all I've been working on this morning. Well, actually, you probably saw, or some of you, only a handful of you saw that I put out another product review. I know they're not going over like, they're kind of going over like lead balloons. Some people say they like them and they enjoy them, and that's fine. I'm glad they do, because I've got a number of them to put out. I got 3 more that I'm behind on right now. And, I'm trying to be selective and only take the stuff that I can use, And I've turned down, I couldn't even tell you how many things I've turned down. Way more than I've accepted. But I'm still behind by 3. So I've got a garden hose, a hose reel for Sue. Sue wanted that. So I've got to do a video on that. I've actually made the video. I haven't edited it yet. I also have a big box of impact sockets that Vivor sent me. So I need to do a video on that. I haven't done anything on that yet. And then I also, just yesterday, came in a new laser cutter, another laser cutter from a different company. And it's made different. It's similar, very similar, but it's different. So I decided to go ahead and accept it, because I figure I can review it, and if I like it, I'll keep it, and if I don't, I'll give it away to, my daughter or someone like that. Well, anyway, Rod Wintler was the first one in the comments there. Dottie's there. And, yeah, we miss you, Dottie, anytime you're not here. And she's praying for us. Thank you, Dottie. Wavy Gravy says, my cousin got good news and bad news yesterday. The good news is he just had his annual flea dip. The bad news is all his best friends are now dead. I don't like those kinds of friends. I'm looking for question marks, but I don't see too much. Kenneth Ennis, Jerry, relax, give yourself a break. Things will be there later. You can count on that. Yeah, well, I know that. Plus, see, cutting these logs is one thing. Doing those videos is another thing. And Sue's lawn tractor is still sitting there, so I got to get that fixed too. And there's still plenty of other stuff. I mean, like the dump truck, and there's so much. I can't. I just bore you to tears telling you everything. There's so much. It's just not even funny. Ronald Todd says, once you get the roof on the Waterwheel, it might be time to take a break on it and ponder. Maybe catch up on other things like the dump truck. You're going to need it. Yeah, I'm going to need it this winter for sure for hauling firewood. It would be better anyway. I got plenty of other ways to haul it, but it would be nice to have the dump truck. Diane Craver forgot the question marks. Okay. Did she have one? Is there one up there earlier? Okay, I don't see nothing. I don't know. Anyway, I see. The first one up there, she said, first live vlog from Puyallup, Washington. Well, glad you're here, Diane. Christia Thomason, the product reviews are interesting. Folks will catch on. Yeah, and I'm trying to find ways to show them in real life using them and how we plan to use them. I mean, like that little chainsaw. Sue, I'm not kidding you. She loves that chainsaw. That's not just me saying that. She loves that chainsaw. She's got other chainsaws, but she likes that one because it's super lightweight and it cuts like crazy. It's the power to weight ratio is really tremendous. In fact, all of those Badger tools are very lightweight, which is why, I'll be honest, is why I thought they were probably not that good. I mean, I've said that they do what they say they're going to do, that kind of thing. And I said they're pretty much for light use. but they're starting to prove to me that they're a little bit better than just light use. Sue uses that electric lawnmower all the time now too. And she likes it a lot because it's super light and it's easy to push around, So there's that, Trust me, if I don't like it, you'll know I don't like it, or you won't see it. Just like the torque wrench. Like I said, I got a torque wrench from a company, and I didn't like it at all. In fact, I just flat told them, I said, I don't like this thing at all. I said, if I can put the video out if you want me to, but you're not going to like what I say. Because it's not good. And it's just the way it is. I'm not going to lie to you about it. If anything, I try to downplay it to some degree. Ronald Todd, once you get, I read that one. Let's see. I can't. Dottie Hildebrand, I saw the video, liked it, looking forward to more. Okay. Christia Thomason, the product reviews are interesting. Okay, thank you. I read that one. Let's see. I keep thinking I haven't read them. Bill Webb, how about a porta potty with a wooden outhouse to disguise it? Maybe two, one with a moon cut out. Yeah, with a star. Yeah, it's just there's not a lot of room up there in that area, and I don't know what I'm going to do about that. And again, whether it becomes a primitive camping Airbnb or not, I don't know. Kind of makes sense, and it makes sense from the financial standpoint. I mean, it's kind of stupid to have something that you could be using it to make money and not use it, and it's almost like free money, really, except for the fact that we'd have to probably pay for the porta potty thing. But I still haven't, basically I cross those bridges as I get to them. I mean, it's nice to think about it, have it mulling around in my head, but I'm not really too serious on that end of it yet. I'm still trying to build the darn thing. Right now, that's what I'm serious about. Hugh O'Connor, that roof is going to make all you have done so far seem easy. Yeah, it's not, I agree. Nothing's been easy so far. I don't think it's going to be that much harder, but it ain't going to be easy either. I'll tell you where believe it or not, what the real work is going to be is the actual shingles. The big beams and all that, that's not that big a deal to me. I can do that. But shingling that sucker with those cedar shake shingles to make it look cool, which is really the only reason I'm doing that, is it's going to look really neat. That's going to be some work right there. It might not be as bad as I think, but right now I'm thinking that's where all the work is. Ben Boyd, does the band know the song Dooley? Well, we know it. I know all of us know it. I don't know if anybody actually does the song. Yeah, I don't know for sure. I'll be honest with you, Ben. I never liked it because it was about moonshine for the most part, So I never did care for it much. I think that's the one. Maybe I'm wrong on that. I think that's, I don't know. I never did like any of the songs that were about drinking or any of that stuff. Don't get me wrong. I sing a couple of them that have that in there, but I typically don't. If I just don't learn them. I don't know why. It's just me. It's nothing negative really. I just don't do them. Christia Thomason, a new series, Sawing with Sue. Yeah, she's been using that chainsaw a lot. I am not kidding you about that. And really, if you saw the video that I just released last night, you probably saw in my vlog a few days ago when that tree fell down. I said it fell down and it fell down and went boom. That vlog, well, that tree had a lot of brush on it. She cleaned all of that up with that chainsaw. And some of those limbs are good size, 4 inches, 5 inches like that, and she cut them all with that. And she said it just kept cutting. It didn't slow down at all, she said. Chipwood, hang in there, Jerry. My wife uses me for sounding board. If I sound off, she uses a board. Yeah, I get it. Yeah, Jeff Pierce says, nothing like the aroma of a porta potty wafting the morning breeze. Yeah, well, it is what it is. Jeff, Bill Rhodes, Jerry, with all of the out of work carpenters, maybe you find one to help you with the room. Yeah, I would say in a normal place in the world, that'd be a good idea. This is not that place. I hate to be so down on the area in that regard, but I'm trying to think of the nice way to say it. I would say in terms of skilled tradesman type people, you could count on one hand for the whole county, if that. Yeah, it's bad. And everybody will take your money. There ain't no problem with that around here. But getting them to do anything, that's a different story. Yeah, and then being able that you would call it good enough or done well. Yeah, JR's all the time paying people to do stuff and all the time complaining about how bad it is that they did what they did. I just do it myself. That's how I avoid all that. I do it myself. Then I don't have to deal with all that. Because I'm not kidding you. There's almost nothing around here that I pay people to do that I'm satisfied with. There was a gutter guy I had that did the gutters on the house. He did a pretty good job. I found one good carpenter crew that came in and roofed my house and all that stuff, and they did some good work. That I had them come back and did a couple of more things, but they're long gone, and I don't need any more gutters. So, other than those guys like that, I really haven't found anybody around here that's been worth a hoot, man. I wouldn't take my car to anybody around here to get work done. If I can't fix it, it's just going to get sold or traded off or something, because there's not much point in it. Let's see here. Daddy Hildebrandt, they don't want to work or their work is shoddy. Yeah, you got that right. Around here, I don't even know how to put it in words. It's just pitiful. It's really what it amounts to. Anything I've paid to have done, I've just regretted for the most part. Like I had Sue's horse trailer painted, and he came recommended by somebody else, and I thought, well, all right, we'll have him paint it because I don't want to deal with the painting thing. And I got it sort of ready, and it wasn't really ready enough. And I told him over the phone what was wrong and everything, and he said, "Oh yeah, I'll fix all that. Don't worry about that." Okay, cool. Sent it down to him. It looked like he painted it with house paint, and it was the worst paint job I ever saw in my life, bar none. And he didn't fix any of the flaws that I told him about. And he was going to charge, I forget how much it was. Quite a bit of money. I want to say $3,000, something like that. And I called him up and just reamed him out, up one side and down the other. And he never did cash my check. So at least I give him that much credit. He never did cash the check. So I was aggravated, man. I'm telling you, it's bad. There's just nothing around here that's worth paying for, in my opinion. Scott Roberts, yeah, good help is hard to find, and real professionalism is hard to find here in Oregon as well. I also am a do-it-yourselfer. I could tell you some horror stories. Yep. Eddie D, I wonder if the lawn tractor problem is the deck pulleys are starting to seize. No, I don't think so. Everything's fine on all that. I've checked all that stuff. It's all turns fine. I keep it greased. I put new bearings in them. I've rebuilt all of the spindles more than once. Everything's up in good shape on the tractor. Actually, it's in really good shape. I don't know what's wrong with the reason it keeps dying. I'm suspecting it's something electrical at this point. It's either gas or electrical. I'm 99% sure it's one of those two things, but I just can't figure it out. Like I said, and I mean this. I mean it with everything my whole being. If it's reasonably simple, I've already got it figured out. You can bet it ain't never simple. Now, don't get me wrong. It could easily be, and it probably is a simple problem. But identifying it is the problem. I can't get it identified. It probably is an easy fix. I just can't identify where the problem is. If I can identify it, I can fix it. There's no problem about that. But generally speaking, if it's an easy problem, I've already got it fixed. It ain't no big deal. This, like I said, it's probably still a simple problem. And like I've said this many times on the vlogs before, 99 times out of 100, whatever your problem is, it usually is actually very simple. It's just figuring out what the problem is, and then it's usually a very simple fix. And I'm sure that's what this situation is too. I don't think it's anything real serious. But man, finding it is the trouble. Scott Roberts, the sign of a true craftsman is one who pays attention to detail that no one else will ever see. Yeah, there's a lot to be said about that. Let's see here. I think it's moved up. Wavy Gravy. I asked the owner of a local lumber yard how many people actually worked for him, and he said, about half of them. Yeah, that's about the truth. Nancy Milwaukee. Let's see. Paul Lanier. Look on your lawnmower spark plug wire to find if it is routed too close to aluminum. Yeah, it could be something like that. I haven't taken the shroud off. The shroud covers the whole wires on that, and that could be where the problem is. It's possible. Perhaps you can get Jared to help you. Yeah, right. Good luck with that one. Let's see. I'm not going there. The freeze. Don't give them any money up front. They'll not be in a hurry. Yeah, well, I don't generally give money up front. In fact, I wouldn't have paid that guy had I been the one who went down there and picked up the trailer. Sue picked it up and gave him the check and brought the trailer back. Had I been the one who went down there, I wouldn't have paid him a dime for the thing. The trailer either would have stayed there and he'd have fixed it, or I'd have brought it home without giving him any money. One of the two. Because it was pitiful. It was flat pitiful. Did you try the new fuel pump yet? No, I haven't tried that yet. I've got that to do. I haven't had time to go back to it is the problem. I haven't gone back to it since we started talking about it still causing a problem. Let's see, Dottie. I'll be willing to bet it's spark plug wires. Yeah, it's a possibility. It just, I don't know. The weird thing is, once I changed those fuel things, it ran good for a long time. And that could have just been coincidental with the wires. I mean, it's possible. I just don't know what it is. Like I said, it's probably something simple. I just can't find out what it is. Scott Roberts, how about more than 3 of us out of 108 watching get thumbs up? Yeah, that would be nice. Have you checked the coil? Well, I don't even know if there is a coil on this thing. I mean, I don't know how these new motors. Honestly, I don't know the new motors and the new electronic fuel and all that stuff. I don't know that much about that stuff. I ain't gonna try to fool anybody. The old school stuff, I'm all over it. I know all about that stuff. I don't know what this thing has. Does it even have a coil? I assume it does, but I don't know anything about it, to be truthful. These more modern engines. But that's crossed my mind to check the coil. It has. Like you saying it didn't make me think of it. I have already thought of that, but I haven't taken, like I said, the whole thing's covered with that shroud, and I haven't gotten into the shroud area yet. I've been working on all the external stuff, the fuel and the spark plugs and that kind of stuff is what I've been working on so far. So I haven't taken anything apart yet. Well, I did take the carburetor apart, but again, that's accessible without removing the shroud. Could it getting air lock after heating up? Yeah, I mean, there could be something locked in the carburetor, perhaps. It's got clean air going in it. Nothing's blocked there as far as I can tell, but it may be something in the carburetor, possibly. Money's still on the fuel pump. Well, I'm going to change it, but I don't think it's the fuel pump. I mean, it might be. Typically, when fuel pumps go out, you can't start them. You can't do nothing. The thing starts up instantly. Even after it dies, you can start it right back up. I don't know. I mean, it might be the fuel pump. Don't get me wrong. It could be. And I'll tell you if it is. But right now, I just can't hardly think that would be it. It just doesn't make sense, really. Maybe a bad condenser. It's electronic ignition, so I don't think there's a condenser, but I don't know. Like I said, I don't know nothing about this electronic stuff. Paul Lanier, I've done one JD lawn tractor repair by slightly burr grinding around, finds underneath the tin his symptoms were identical to Sue's problem. Done one John Deere lawn tractor. You are slightly burr grinding around. Find underneath the tin. I'm not sure what you're talking about grinding there, but I don't know. Like I said, if you could hear it start up and run, you'd go, "There's nothing wrong with this tractor," because there don't seem to be anything wrong with it. It sounds perfect. It runs perfect, and then it just goes. Maybe after a whole hour, maybe after 5 minutes. You just don't know. And now she's saying it's doing it all the time. Again, I haven't got on it and started it since she said it's doing it all the time. Like I said, after I put the new fuel filter on it, she ran it for over an hour, no trouble at all. Prior to that, it had died about 5 minutes in. So I don't know. Sorry to bring up a sore subject, but I was just wondering. Ronald Todd, a couple of people mentioned low oil pressure sensor. Yeah, I mean, that wouldn't surprise me, I guess. That could be something. Maybe I hadn't really thought about that too much. I mean, I checked the oil to make sure it wasn't low on oil, because I thought, well, maybe it's run low on oil and it's shutting off that way, but that doesn't seem to be it. I didn't change all the fuel hoses, but I did take them off and blow through them and hold, and I actually held the air on one end and put my finger over the other end and put them under water, and there was no bubbles or anything. So I don't think they're leaking. And you can blow through them. I mean, there's no blockage or anything. Airlock happens in fuel lines. Yeah, I'm kind of aware of all that stuff, but I don't think that's what's happening. Maybe a mouse nest under the tin. You never know, I guess. My fuel pump was just weak. Would start, just didn't want to take any power. Well, this one seems to get plenty of power. Like I said, I cut some after I put the new fuel filter on it. I took it out and went through some tall weeds. I'm talking weeds that were waist high and thick, you know, heavy stuff. Green grass down low in it. And, you know, and I'll be honest, it pulled the motor down, but it didn't die, and it just kept going through it. So it just doesn't make sense. Like I said, I'm almost thinking it's got to be something electrical at this point. That's more what I'm thinking, but I just don't know what it is. Don't know. I mean, I do think for sure the fuel filter was part of the problem, but apparently that wasn't everything. Something in the fuel line between the gas tank and the filter. That's what I found in my situation. Yeah, well, I've taken all of that off, and there's nothing there. I mean, and I even took the fuel tank out, completely cleaned the fuel tank, because it was full of dirt. There's no doubt about that. It was full of dirt. And since then, all the lines and all the fuel filters and everything's been changed, and I even took the carburetor off to make sure that that dirt didn't get in the carburetor, and everything looks perfect. And like I said, it starts right up. Mark's Adventure. Hey, fellas, is that a mandolin hanging up behind you? Man, I just restrung. It's my nerves. I just restrung. It strung out my nerves. Yeah, well, think of how many instruments I used to string in a day. You'd be surprised. That's what hurts the most is turning those. That's what makes my hands hurt the worst is turning those tuning keys. Just think how many thousands and thousands of times I did that. And for sure, I've paid for that. Paul Lanier, when you uncover motor on cylinder head, see wire root near if for arc and yeah, I'm gonna look for any when I do take that shroud off. I'm gonna look and see if I see any sparks. In fact, I'm gonna start it up in the dark and see if I see any sparking off the spark plug wires or anything like that. There's got to be something going on. Yeah, fuel pump again. I'm gonna go ahead and replace that. Yeah, I've cleaned out the fuel cap vent. All that's in fact it's completely open now, so it's not the fuel cap. Coil is good. It is shortened against the last fins before it lands a spark plug. Yeah, I don't know. Let's see. Outboard tanker. Hello, Jerry. In 77, most all outboards pretty much all went to CD ignition away from points. CD ignition is my guess. Gotta fly the lead. Here on the coast, we have trouble with ethanol fuel causing the inside of the fuel line to collapse. Motors run for a little while, and I don't think there's any problem like that on this. Could be, but I don't think so. Gordon Bartlett, I just refurbished an A-style mandolin 0 fret. What is your recommended string height at the 12th fret? Just roughly 40, 45 thousandths, somewhere in there. I used a purple Tortex pick, which is, I think, 42 thousandths, something like that. That's kind of was my standard. If it just almost held the pick at the 12th fret, then it's pretty good. Yeah, you got to have your frets really flat for that to work, though. I mean, if your frets have any high spots at all, you're not going to get it down to the 42 or 3 thousandths there at the 12th fret. Pretty hard to do, really, but you can do it. Guys, I'm going to let that be it. I'm debating, because the weather's halfway decent here, I'm debating on whether I'm going to go out there right now and start cutting trees down, or whether I better go down there and try to work on that dang lawnmower, or whether I need to go start working on those 3 videos. Everybody's on my case. Everybody wants something. So, I don't know. I will see you tomorrow with something else. Thank you for being here. 122 viewers. We'll see you tomorrow.